What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 9 of the Gallop Out. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, and joined by my co-host, Jackson Muniz. Jackson, how's it going?
It's going good, man. It's been a lot of handicapping today, but I am not complaining at all. We got some good racing this weekend and leading up to the Breeders' Cup, especially at Keeneland.
Absolutely. Yeah, ton of racing going on. We got a double carryover at Aqueduct, which you got to love to see. Gets you in the action there. The pick 6 at Keeneland paid out after carrying over yesterday. We got a ton of races to go over. Obviously, today's Thursday, so we're hitting Friday pretty hard, and then we're going into Saturday, and we got 2 weeks till the Breeders' Cup. So it's going to be fast and furious getting there, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be down at our home track, Del Mar, so that'll be a blast.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's coming up quick. I feel like we keep saying that, but this time it's like it's actually happening. Like it's 2 weeks away.
This time it's actually coming up fast, and it'll actually be here pretty soon. So today, though, we're going to focus on Keeneland Saturday. You may have just tuned into the HHH Racing Podcast for the late pick 5 at Keeneland. We got you covered with the early pick 5 on Keeneland this Saturday, 10/17. So real quick, before we get started, please like, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss our live shows, because we're about to get into the Breeders' Cup schedule. That's going to be down below. Breeders' Cup schedule I'm going to announce right now. We got some awesome guests. It's going to be 2 live shows a week. It's going to be Monday and Tuesday. So the 21st, the 22nd, the 28th, and 29th. We're going to have a lineup of some incredible guests from all over the country, from all walks of horse racing life. So I'm excited to get into that. But real quick, a lot of y'all know that I've recently joined Pacific Horse Players on the HHH channel. So I want to promote the Breeders' Cup Power Picks. It's going to be 30 pages of insight for Breeders' Cup. I'll get to write up a race. Everybody that co-hosts or hosts over there is going to be writing up a race. It has a tremendous ROI, tremendous insight into each and every Breeders' Cup race, into each and every horse pretty much. So it's really going to be something you don't want to miss out on. That link is going to be in the description. And then, as we just kind of move forward, I want to announce some of our Breeders' Cup schedule guests. Again, some of these are going to change, but this one is pretty set. This is going to be this coming Monday, October 21st, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have guest Jason Avila. He works up at Santa Anita with me. He's an excellent handicapper. I'm excited to get him on. Met him this summer down at Del Mar. Next up, we also got a Del Mar guy, Benny South Street, with Trip Note Pros. He's going to be joining us, talking some track profiles, everything good like that as we get into Breeders' Cup season. Obviously down at Del Mar, we want to see how that track's probably going to be playing. Just kind of get some insight into how it's played in the fall in the past. Maybe a little high tide, low tide conversation, but we'll see how that pans out. And lastly, Shane,
a full moon, I think, the day of the Friday Breeders' Cup. That's
shit. You know what that means? Still bet speed. And then lastly, we have the Breeders' Cup, or we have Shane O'Neill joining us on 1021. That is Doug O'Neill's nephew. He's an awesome guy, sharp handicapper. He is Shane's picks on X or on Twitter. Jackson, you and I have both met him this summer at Del Mar. He's a fun guy.
I'm gonna have to ask him about the Santa Anita Derby winner rank.
Yes,
see how he's doing.
We are.
Race.
Absolutely. Just finished. Was it second or third? Because he ran with my horse of the meet, brother Tony. So we'll. I digress. But moving on to show number 2 of our Breeders' Cup schedule week. That is going to be the Tuesday day right after this Monday. Obviously, that's how days of the week work. We're going to have Matt Miller on. Matt Miller is going to join us. Obviously, he wrote a kick-ass book called A Better Way of Thinking. We'll put the link to that in that show. He's going to join us. He's going to talk some tournament plays. He's going to talk, how he would play in some tournaments, some tips for beginners, for experienced players, for everything like that. How, the consensus is of how people should bet if you're, in first place with a race to go in a big tournament that's live money like that. We're just going to ask and talk a bunch of questions. And then next up, we have Kaylee Shapiro, who's a new person out at Naira on the East Coast, but she's done some awesome handicapping. She gave out like $40-something winner at Keeneland this past weekend. Awesome insight. So I'm excited to have her on, as that should be a great show. And just real quick, we will be going over races during these shows. The show on 1021, we will be going over the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We're obviously going to split it up, show by show. So we have 14 races to get through. We gotta diversify and spread them out a little bit. So next up is looking for a cat. So next up on 1022, that's the show that you see down below on the banner. We have the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies Turf, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. That's going to be fun to talk about. We have a lot of babies in there that we're going to be interested in. Obviously, we have a West Coast runner in Thought Process. That's going to be my one of my heavy leans for that Friday, I would imagine, unless, one of those big girl or big boy Euros come over. So we'll see. Next up, as we really get into the thick of it on these shows. Oh, and real quick, we'll throw up Matt. Excited for the Tuesday show. More than happy to talk all things betting. Yeah, we got to love Matt Miller.
I'm going to have a lot of questions, Matt. I hope you're ready.
There we go. Matt, you better come locked and loaded. Anyway, on the 28th, it is going to be the draw for the Breeders' Cup. And actually, really quick, let me adjust this because we do have a third guest for this show that I'm also excited about. So anyway, as we get this banner back up here, the 1028, we're going to have the live post-draw reactions. Again, these are all going to be live shows, so we'll kind of be going through it. And then I'll have guest and race caller Tony Kalo joining me. I will have race caller and handicapper Travis Stone joining me. Obviously, he's the race caller out at Churchill Downs, Tony Kalo at Ellis Park and Turfway. And then finally, we're going to have Matthew DeSantis, another guy over at Naira, and we're going to be talking the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, Breeders' Cup Sprint, and the Breeders' Cup Mile, 4 deeply competitive races. Those 2 dirt sprints, probably the best betting races on that card, I would imagine, with how wide open they are and how deeply, deeply competitive. And then lastly, the big show here. We're waiting on one more guest to confirm, but I'm pretty confident that he will, but I won't announce that one until it is official. But on 1029, we're going to have our last live show. We got Matt Dinnerman, race caller at Oaklawn Park and Monmouth, and Southern California native, fellow Del Mar intern, obviously called races up at Golden Gate. Great guy. So he's going to be joining us. And then our next guest, someone I'm very, very excited to have on the show, FanDuel TV host, NBC sports analyst. That's Matt Bernier. So he's going to join us. And obviously that third guest, I'll wait to announce until it's officially official. But we're going to be talking the Breeders' Cup Distaff, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, the Breeders' Cup Turf, the Filly and Mare Turf, and of course the Classic. So we're going to hit those big 5 races. And I am just so excited to get into those. But for right now, I guess we got to focus on Keeneland because that's what we got coming up this Saturday. But moving forward, looking ahead to Breeders' Cup, we're going to have a string of some really, really high-quality shows. So be sure you don't miss out there.
Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun. But right now, as I mentioned, let's get into race 1. So we'll start. It's going to be this Saturday. Okay, I threw the picks up. I am actually on it for right now. Who would have thought? We got race 1. It's a maiden special weight race. Jackson, you picked the race 693. I picked the race 364. We got for restricted fillies, I believe it's sold for $50,000 or less in their most recent auction. So lost it already. You picked the race 693. We're going to start with you. That's Wisconsin Gal. Likely, I believe your morning line favorite. We actually have the morning lines. I'm used to Santa Anita. So we got Wisconsin Gal, morning line favorite. What attracted you to this runner?
Yeah, interesting race. There's a lot of firsters you have to kind of sort through, right? And I was able to watch some works of most of them. I watched this. Oh my gosh, I watched the workouts of the one. Got beat by a horse that came back to lose by 20 lengths in main race. So I don't love that. It was pretty handily beaten in that workout. The 4 horse didn't look great either in the mornings. And the 10 horse I was able to see as well. So none of the firsters really intrigued me too much. The only one I wasn't able to find was a 3. So I didn't know really what to do with the 3 horse. I'm going to lean on the 2 horse. My top 2 picks in here pretty heavily. The first one is going to be the favorite, Wisconsin Gal. Just makes a lot of sense in here. She's versatile filly, which I'm a big fan of. She's been able to close into some slow paces, and she's dug in deep into the lane. And that one time she was on the lead, and that was a pretty honest pace that day, especially for this level. So I like that she's versatile. It's pretty noteworthy that Tottori jumps aboard here. Not connections he's usually riding for. And again, just makes sense on figures, makes sense from the fact that we don't really know what the pace scenario is going to be like. And I like that she's going to be able to adapt no matter what happens. So she's going to be one I'm going to use heavily in this spot.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love all the points you brought up. Definitely a runner that's shown some promise in those 4 career starts, kind of getting better with each start. Has a kind of a tactical running style, is, proven to come from off of it a little bit, closed into a bit of a slow pace in that race 3 back, at least in time form standards. That was over at Indy, where speed's normally pretty good. To Praying, who I forget who trains that horse, but that's a pretty decent horse. And that was against Opens. So I like that horse. Obviously, I landed on her second. So I kind of saw similar things to you. My top pick in this one is a little breezy. That's the number 3 in here. I love the numbers for Jeremiah Englehart. We got 26% with 2-year-olds, 22% mains. I mean, pretty good, solid 20%. Obviously, a lot of those come at the, I believe he's Finger Lakes is the primary track for Englehart, but obviously he does a lot of running in New York at Aqueduct, Saratoga, as this horse has done all of her training, up at Saratoga. Steady series of drills coming in here, 19% first time. And it just, I don't know, it stood out to me that that Englehart would bother shipping this horse down here. Maybe he's seen a little bit in the morning. I, like you, was not able to find the workouts on this number 3 horse, but they look fairly good. They look like this horse might have some promise. Nothing crazy in the breeding suggests that this is going to be, a super precocious filly, but the 3 furlong work coming in, maybe that shows some intention of being forward, maybe a little bit of speed. So that's enough for me to feel kind of confident, but it's probably a spread race for me into the, in the pick 5 and any horizontal plays, just because there is a lot of unknown in here. Do you have anything to add on that one? Because you picked the number 3 third.
No, I think you covered it pretty well. Just like the consistent work tab, and the trainer does well with these kind of moves, so makes some sense.
I picked the number 4 in third, but we'll get to your second choice real quick. That's the number 9, 10-1 on the morning line. That's Lasco Lady.
Yeah, she's a bit of a price in here, and I thought she earned some respectable speed figures in those 2 races, despite not the greatest of circumstances in either of those starts. Didn't get away well at all in the debut, and it's noteworthy that she showed up in a stakes race on debut. It just kind of ran around the track after that, but wasn't like a crazy long shot or anything. Then they show up at Churchill, kind of the same thing, just got away okay and kind of ran around the track. That was against Open Company. These are her friends, right? If she's going to be able to run, it's going to be today. She's drawn outside. She blinkers are on. She's got more speed, I think, than she's shown so far. So I definitely need to use her in all my tickets as well, because I think she's one of the more likely ones to jump up and run a big race.
Yeah, absolutely. I love horses coming out of races on the slop where they've turned in a poor effort. A lot of times you can really simply just toss that race because, it might be as simple as they don't like the mud. So something like that, that's a really great bet back. That is a horse that I'm going to use probably in my horizontals as we get there. But that is definitely a great point. Loveberry on board for Thomas Vance. Blinkers on for the 3rd time out. You mentioned a couple pretty respectable numbers. Got Lasix in the first try down at Lone Star. Obviously, you can't watch, bet, or even hear what goes on at that track, but that's for a different day. Yeah. And then, came back 5.5 furlongs in the slop at Churchill Downs. And, maybe didn't do a whole lot of running that day, but definitely facing friends here. So this would be a logical spot for this horse to step up. My third choice in this race is the number 4. That's Lovely Words. 1,000 Words filly out of Orca, who have to Shamu, obviously, as you have to, I guess. So John Ortiz, Luis Saez team up here. Ortiz, $2.84 ROI on 14% with first-time starters. 336 on the ROI with 19% for 2-year-olds. I like those strong numbers. They hit at 27% overall, do Saez and Ortiz when they team up together. 0 for 5 at Keeneland, which is a bit peculiar, but that's something where I'm willing to kind of toss that. I haven't dug deeper to see if they, had some in the money or what the deal really was there, but I know Saez is kind of the top guy for John Ortiz at a time like this. So that was enough for me to pick the number 4. 3rd overall, not to mention 1,000 Words, 18% with 2-year-old first-time starters in his first crop, has sired stakes winners like the Queen's MG and, a handful of other really good runners that look pretty promising. So I think Lovely Words should be ready here, sold for $50,000, which is right at that limit. So that's enough to, build some confidence in me that this horse might have a little bit of potential. Not to mention the 5-1 on the morning line. Maybe Nick Tamarow's heard something, or this Phillies works are really popping off the page compared to some of the other firsters in here. All right, as we'll transition to race number 2 here, just give me a minute. All right, race number 2 here. We got a 6 furlong claimer for $20,000. I will throw our picks up on the screen here. I saw the race 9-4-8. Jackson, you're pretty close to me. We got 9. You got 9-1-8. I'll let you kick it off with the number 9. That's going to be all the way towards the outside. Awesome Anne Marie, David Jacobson, Irad Ortiz.
Yeah, this is going to be my single in this sequence. I didn't think it was just a very deep race, and I just thought she's the most likely in this field to trip out. Right, she's drawn to the outside. She's drawn outside of her main rival in post 8, which is Always Smiling. That's the morning line favorite. Both have kind of a similar style. They want to be probably right behind the speed. And I just think this one, from a tactical standpoint, is going to have that advantage of a slightly larger price. So this is the one I'm going to use very prominently. Like I said, I'm going to single her in this spot. She ran well at Saratoga this year. It's kind of against the track a little bit, 3 back, and still got up there for 3rd, and came back in late August and ran a good race after setting the pace and pretty fast fractions that day, and held on for 3rd, ran pretty good. Mon Petit Chou was another one that had a big summer at Saratoga, ran well a number of times. And then last time I thought was probably the biggest indicator to me, because she's historically been pretty bad on a wet racetrack, but she actually she ran that day. I know she got 4th, but she showed up, which she hasn't done in the past. So that's kind of a sign to me that she's just in really good form right now, and that's just the one I'm going to lean on here. I didn't think it was a very deep race, and I thought she's the most likely to trip out.
Yeah, I landed in a similar place as you, picking the 9 on top. 9 is also my single in this sequence. Just, yeah, to all your points, drew well outside, second off the claim for David Jacobson, tossed the last in the slop. Obviously does better, a lot better on a fast track. Gonna sit the right trip here, fits at this level, just a logical contender in this spot, and probably, I guess, in both of our opinions, the most logical winner in this sequence, or most probable winner in this sequence. So no need to spend too much time on that one. We'll go to your second choice. That's the number 1 in here, all the way against the rail. Tell me when. I don't recognize the trainer, Hugo Andrade, with BJ Hernandez, obviously Kentucky winner, or Derby winner this year. What took you to this horse?
Yeah, just a speed horse in here, right? If she gets to the front, she can kick clear, and she could be tough to catch. I just thought the 5 was probably going to be one that compromises her chances, as well as the 8 horse possibly. I thought those two might give her some problems, and the rail draw is always tricky too, right? Especially when talking about her best chances by far just being the speed of the speed. So if she doesn't get out of there, great. She's going to be compromised pretty quickly. That being said, if she does break out of there well, then she could be tough in here, and I think it's going to be one of these 3, and I don't see why she can't be one of them.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of red on this time form sheet. Like, she's been going fast early, and obviously, yeah, doing that here is probably going to be a good sign. Is forward on dirt. As what's up, Howard? Nice of you to join us. Loved your show today. Having Ellis on to talk the late pick 5. Yeah, welcome in. So
Dana to the hoop.
Book him, Dana. I mean, maybe we'll see.
He gone.
That's he's probably gone. If he's probably gone. To get to my second choice, though, that's a B2B, a B2B. I don't know. However you pronounce this horse's name. Yeah. I love the last effort on dirt out at Churchill, against slightly better in the claim 25. Gets a bit of a rider upgrade here to the Axeman, Axel Concepcion. 2 second place finishes in 2 tries here at Keeneland. So, he has, some enjoyment for the surface here. Again, the 9 is my far and away top choice in here. But I wanted to settle on something that I think was going to be a bit of a price. And I think you might be able to get about 8-1 or so, maybe close to that 10-1 on a BBT, the 4 here. So that was enough to make me pick this horse for second. But again, I'm pretty sure we're looking at no sure thing, but that's my most confident pick, was going to be that 9 in this race, along with yourself. Yeah. So
this one's she's not impossible. She said, if you're looking just at her dirt race, she's had a couple not ideal trips in her last few. So I could see her improving a little bit in this spot.
Yeah, no doubt. And then moving on to the number 8 here, that is Always Smiling. I'll let you talk about this horse first. Matt Williams, Francisco Arrieta, what did you pick? What did you see in this horse to pick this horse third?
Yeah, I just felt like she's in one of these situations where she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't, right? As far as the pace scenario, if she goes with the one horse, it's going to set up perfectly for the 9. If she lets the one go and tries to sit off, then the one might be gone. And I just felt like that was, it's a tough position for her to overcome. And I was also a little worried that she might be a Canterbury specialist because she was really bad at Oaklawn all year. And then all of a sudden she goes to Canterbury, just starts winning races, starts doing really well. This is a class test for her. Now she shows up at Keeneland. She might be on my tickets as a deep backup, but I wanted to try to beat at a short price in this spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. Horse that I sucked up to in third as my co-host on Pacific Horse Players, and our good friend Noah Maher is in here. What's up, Noah? Good to see you. This guy has deep dove into his dinner, but he has not yet handicapped it. And then real quick, as we're kind of getting out of the second race, deep dove into the early pick 5 for our Keeneland Power Picks tip sheet. That's a good plug for the Keeneland Power Picks tip sheet. But don't forget, the link for the Breeders' Cup Power Picks are going to be down in the bottom in the description. Please go check those out. 30 plus pages of incredibly great content coming your way. Insights on every race, top picks every race. That's going to be, fast and furious in the Breeders' Cup, realm, and the ROI on that is quite fantastic. So that's.
I meant to ask you earlier. What race are you covering for the Breeders' Cup?
It's a surprise yet. I will find that out, but whatever I cover, it's going to be the best one of the weekend. So you'll get excellent top picks. I guarantee I'll have the highest ROI on the top pick there.
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
I'm on a $40 winner no matter what.
There we go. Easy. Race number 3, we got a maiden special weight, 2-year-olds going 5.5 on the turf. Let me throw up our picks here. I picked the race 258. Jackson, you saw the race 526. The number 5 is going to be the morning line favorite. Probably not going to even get 3-1. That is Hit That Review. Brendan Walsh, Tyler G on board. You picked this horse on top. What'd you like here besides the obvious great form coming in?
Yeah, well, the morning line favorite is going to be the 10 horse for Wesley Ward. That is Caribbean Wind, who.
Oh, you're right.
He's going to be favoring her. Got speed. Irad, it's Wesley. They're going to take a ton of money. I don't know. The horse lost at what, 1-5?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't take that horse at 1. He lost at 1-5 on the dirt. Now shows up 6 months later on the turf. That just, it's not a good sign to me. That's one I'm going to try to beat in this spot. So like you said, it's the 5. 5 has got some good form. I feel like he's been a little unlucky not to win this far. I mean, the debut, he was way back there behind a slow pace, came running late, really good third that day. Then came back at Kentucky Downs, was closer to lead, showed a lot more speed that day, finished a good second, but not behind a horse that would come back and run third in a stakes race at Keeneland 2 weeks ago. And then last time again with the Aqueduct was way back there. I don't know why he was so far back again, and it was not a fast pace. And again, he came flying late and just couldn't quite get there. One of these days he's going to get there. I'm getting a little worried that maybe just one of those horses that just clunks up and gets second and thirds and starts collecting them. I feel like it's now or never for this horse. It's go time. He's going to need a little bit of help, but with all these first-time starters, I got to feel like some of them are going to show speed in this race. So it's my top pick in here. Like I said, it's now or never for him.
Yeah, I agree. 3 great efforts, just left with a lot to do, turning for home. So there's a chance the cut back to 5.5, like he had in his debut, is going to be good for this horse and might just, sharpen up that late turn of foot because he really does have one. But part of me is concerned that even though they might be going fast, Keeneland going 5.5, coming from that far off of it is pretty tough. And there's always the chance for trouble. We saw Star of Mystery ran a great race coming from way off the pace and just couldn't quite get there. Had some trouble, obviously, but nonetheless, kind of tough to make up that sort of ground. And that's the only thing that prevented me from picking this horse on top. I picked the 2 on top as I scroll down to him, but that is Restore, the French bred for Dallas Stewart, Luis Saez. Blinkers on last time. Obviously, Pratt hops off here, but that's all right. I'm not going to look into that too much. Set a fast early pace last time at Kentucky Downs. We've talked at length about the form at Kentucky Downs and how we look at it, especially for these babies. This is just a run over it, as far as I'm concerned. So not something I'm super concerned with the fact that he was speed and fade, even though speed may have been pretty good that day. That was early in the meet when speed was, most beneficial, I think, in most people's opinion. However, that 6-2 buyer I did enjoy, or I did like, and important to be forward in here. Size is aggressive, going to probably send hard from that inside post. If this Wesley Ward horse on the outside, Caribbean Wind, maybe either crosses and clears on the full intention of going to the lead and just doesn't quite have enough in the tank, or if the 2 just happens to, be more aggressive and get that spot over Caribbean Wind, I think that's the way I can see the 2 in the winner's circle. Either way, I'm with you in fading the morning line favorite Caribbean Wind, because I think coming off that layoff, you have a lot of developing 2-year-olds that are in better race shape. As good as Wesley can have them, we'll go take a look at this 10 horse real quick before we get into our respective third choices in the 6 and the 8. These workouts aren't jumping off the page to me. Normally, Wesley Ward is, when one of his horses are ready, especially a 2-year-old, you're seeing him go fast. You're seeing him whistle out of the gate. You're seeing those bullets. You're at least seeing, 4 furlongs in, 47s or 5 furlongs in 59. But we have a 5 furlong in 101 and change. We have a 4 furlong in 49. Something tells me this horse maybe just not that great. Obviously, we know Wesley loves to race him in the spring at Keeneland and send him right over to Ascot. This horse losing by, what is that, about a nose to Tap It First, I want to say was that horse's name. The Asmussen. Yep. The Asmussen trained colt, but was just I'm not taking this horse here. This horse is going to get beat up at the windows. This horse can beat me, and I'm okay with it. I assume you landed on it in a similar opinion.
Yeah, not exactly a turf pedigree either. I didn't think. Just one outside draw. It's going to have to. Maybe he's just that quick. I don't know but it's one of these horses where if it wasn't Wesley Ward as a trainer, he'd be what, 8-1 in this spot.
Yeah, at least.
I try to beat those ones.
At least. I want to talk about your third pick.
Real quick. He might be the speed of the speed. The cutback's going to help him a lot. And, these Dallas Stewart runners, they usually race into shape. He's not great first time out. He's not even that great second time out either. So third start off the bench, or third start to start the career should be a peak effort. Slight cutback from those 6 furlong races at Kentucky Downs. Just got to get out of there cleanly. And size is tough to pass on the front end, as I found out the hard way last week.
Yes, he is. He's a great finisher. And I guess we'll mention that first time out, he lost to some horse named Chancellor McPatrick, who I guess is turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Howard, if you're still in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and he said, I have a bomb underneath I like in this race. I'm going to go ahead and guess that's the number 4 horse.
That would be my guess too.
Yeah.
You don't have to say the stakes horse. Is that Homie?
What's that?
Isn't Homie a stakes horse? Does that say Homie?
I believe so. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a Ravelli horse, I think. It's pretty good.
Should be Ravelli, yeah. 2 for 2 to start the career.
I guess
it was started with Wesley Ward. That's right. Thought that name looked familiar. All right, I want to talk about your third choice. I want you to talk about your third choice. That's Fling Ready, the Skizzle in the saddle, Kelsey Danner. What do you got here? First time starter.
Yeah, just a first time starter, but I won't be surprised if shows up in this spot. I know the connections aren't great first time out, but they do have a pretty high ROI. So when they do hit, they pop with some prices in here. The Dam one first time out, I was a 2-year-old, which I liked. A lot of turf pedigree in here, and I like the work tab. They paid a lot of money for this horse. They paid $350,000. These turfway runners seem to be running really well here at Keeneland. So one, I'm going to use in my tickets. Not a super strong case, but I definitely think she can blow this thing up a little bit.
Nice. I like it. Kelsey Danner, Beskitza. Just to point out, we were right. Howard enjoys the 4. We thought so. That is definitely a threatening horse here. Second time out. We know how much those 2-year-olds can improve. Speaking of, I'll get to my third choice. That's number 8. That's Jack's Promise. Dale Romans, Junior Alvarado. Promises fulfilled colt, who I believe this is his first crop. But either way, first time on turf, really big jump up. Obviously going from a 0 up to a 59. Lost a gate to Wire, who was third in the next out stakes, grade 3 at Backwood. So that was something I liked. The winner, Gate to Wire, improved their buyer speed figure. Man, I can't speak this evening. Improved their buyer speed figure, 8 points in their next out, and got I believe, as a 73 in that graded stakes try. So makes me think that this horse coming off of a good second where he was flying gate to wire, set a pretty nice trip in that race. But Jack's Promise was coming late, obviously at a pretty big price. So I'm looking forward to betting this horse back. I think you might get a bit of a decent price. I think there's some horses in here that could take a lot of money and might be left with more to do, like the 5. I know Jack's Promise kind of came from as far out of it as the number 5 did. I'm hoping maybe just with a little bit of experience, just looked a little green at the beginning of the race, at least to me. But, you know, I have the eye of Stevie Wonder, so take that as you will. But I'm hoping, you know, a second time sprinting on the turf here. I'm hoping that kind of just this horse gets a little more into the race, hoping Alvarado has him placed nicely. And I think this horse has a big shot to upset the apple cart a little bit by, you know, getting home on top.
Yeah, and then just real quick, at the 15 somehow does draw in, I would probably find a way to use that one on my ticket, but it's gonna need some help there.
Papa Echo, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to race number 4. These last 2 races, in my opinion, toughest in the sequence. I don't know how you thought or how you saw them, but let me get our picks up here. We'll see where we went. I went 5-4-1. You went 3-6-1. So same horse in third, and then we're different everywhere else. We got going 1 1/16 for 2-year-olds, optional claimer, non-1 other than. You picked the 3 on top, yeah? Yeah. 3-6-1 for you. That's Authentic Strike, Rooted Brissett, Tyler Gaffleone. What'd you like here?
Yeah, just a horse that costs a lot of money, right? They paid $450,000 for this one. Went out for Brissett, who does not do well first time out. He usually gives his horse a start. And they bet this horse down to even money in a 12-horse field at Ellis Park. And he got the job done. But that's a lot of intent for a lot of signal to me that this horse can run a little bit. Not really quite sure what happened last time. Again, he took some money in that grade 3 at Churchill, got forward, then just kind of ran around the track, faded a little bit. But the numbers still came back okay. It wasn't great. Now he's facing what should be a much easier field. What was my other point I was going to make? Yeah, just should be fourthly placed. I didn't think it was a very deep race either. I much preferred him to the 7, who's going to be favored in the spot. I know they're coming out of the same race, but just one that seems like he's going to move forward. Tyler Gaffleone jumping aboard is pretty telling to me too. So I know he's going to be a short price, but he's the most likely winner in my eyes.
I like it. Yeah, should sit a pretty decent trip going 2 turns here, and yeah, absolutely. So I picked who did I pick on top here? I'm all over the place. I picked the number 5. Horse. Yes, Global Legend. Yeah, Mark Cassie's 0-for-6 at the meet, but I'm willing to forgive those efforts. I love the last time out in the sapling at Monmouth Park. First of all, got experience going 2 turns, which is important at this young age, and did pretty well. Only lost by a head. Second thing to note was he's going to be forward going the 8.5 furlongs with that short stretch at Keeneland. That's the first finish line in case, you know, just for when we watch the race, it's the first finish line.
I did the same thing last week, so I can't even talk.
Winner last out, repeated and improved their buyer speed figure 12 points. That's the winner in the sapling. That's Crazy Frazee. Looks like a pretty real runner. Came out and I believe got a 79 buyer for that next out victory. So that's something I like. I think it's maybe you know, shows that he ran against some class. Obviously, they went pretty fast early, at least according to time form, with the 23-3, 47 flat to the half. And then, yeah, 2 back, I think he just wanted to stretch out here. So I'm looking forward to seeing this horse get around 2 turns for the second time. I think Jose Ortiz is going to fit him nicely. I love when Jose's on, you know, pretty much any mount. You can have a fair amount of confidence in him. He's a really strong rider, obviously. So I like the gradual improvement this horse has shown, and I think a step forward here could put this horse pretty close. So I went on number 5 on top here. We'll get to your second choice. That's the number 6. But I think first, let's talk about the morning line favorite, Jack's Time. Kelly Von Hemmel. Not this time colt out of an Into Mischief mare, obviously pretty well bred. Looks like either a private purchase. Looks like it was bred by Alba Family Stables and owned by Brian Hall, Jason something, and Justin something. So what made you toss this horse in your top 3 picks? Because I did the same.
Real quick, as Noah so nicely pointed out in the comments, I'm going to try really hard not to say yeah as I'm talking in the rest of the this podcast. So it's probably not going to happen, but here we go. Okay, I'm going to say okay instead. The 7 Jack's Time, just one that I don't know. The Prairie Meadow races, I know he got a big number and he won by 10, but I just got to see it again, right? He ran okay at Churchill. I mean, he split the field, showed some speed. But he was right behind Jonathan's Way, who went wire to wire in that race and just couldn't quite keep up. I just felt like that was a race where he got a good trip, and that's kind of the best we're going to get from him, at least at this point. He can always jump up and move forward, but I think he's looking at probably a 3-4 wide stocking trip, and we don't know if he can pass horses yet. So that's why I was kind of against this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with all the points that you made there. In the same way that you say, yeah, I've been told I say a lot. So I think both of us will just try
it's definitely something we should probably work on.
We probably should. Yeah. But anyway, Jack's Time is Jack's Time. Yeah, I faded for the same reason. Just got to see that repeat effort or got to see that effort again of the debut at Prairie Meadows. Because, Jonathan's Way, obviously a real horse, going to probably show up in the Breeders' Cup in a couple weeks. And that's going to be a pretty talented runner. You might get a decent price. But I don't think this is the spot for me to take Jack's Time. If this horse was named Jack's Magic Girl, I know our guy Noah would be salivating at the bit to get a chance to bet. But Jack's Time, he's probably going to fade too, if I had to guess. But on to your second choice. That's Look to the Cross. Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez, coming off of an Ellis Park Kentucky Downs maiden breaking score on the turf.
Yeah, big bomber in this spot, right? Like I said, I think the 3 is most likely winner here, and if the 3 is to lose this race, it's because they're going to go too fast, setting up for a horse that's coming from way off the pace. And I just like the two starts. I know they came on the grass. But I feel like, he's not really bred for the grass. This is a horse that I feel like is going to be better on the dirt, and he might have won in spite of being on the grass in those spots. So I'm not going to be surprised at all if he's able to take the dirt. I like that Brian Hernandez shows up here rather than the stablemate. I think that's pretty telling. Big late pace figures, and look out, 20-1. I got to use somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I like this pick. Only thing that worried me was this short stretch is that, sometimes it takes closers just a little too long to get going, but I'm not going to ever talk you off of a 20-1 shot. Obviously, that was just the only reason I didn't pick this horse in my top 3, but I kind of saw what you did. If they get it too fast early and this race falls apart, Look to the Cross is going to be the one picking it up. No doubt about it. My second choice is the number 4 as I scrolled too far. That's Thrilla. Shout out Michael Jackson. We got him coming off of a 1 1/16 effort in a stakes race, finished third to Siesta Key, who's a Brad Cox trained colt, 2-year-old, obviously, but has been pretty good in that horse's 2 starts. The turf effort was okay. Obviously, the Beyer didn't come back super strong, but the 2-back effort was strong enough for me to endorse this horse in second. The turf experience, I think, is decent. If anything, maybe it gives you some stamina. Went around 2 turns, which is something that I like, even though it was on a different surface. The connections aren't something you see a whole lot. In fact, they're 0 for 17 all the times that they've paired up together, not just at Keeneland, but at any track. There's actually no record of them teaming up at Keeneland in the past year. I just think this horse might be able to surprise a little bit with a pretty good trip. Obviously, going 2 turns at the 1 1/16 distance with that short stretch, something that you obviously want to be is forward. So that was enough. I know Thrill is going to be forward. Don't know the trip I'm really expecting. Could be a speed duel, could be lone lead, could sit the pocket on accident. Who knows? But judging off those last 2 starts, probably going to be somewhere in the mix with any intention, going to be dead sent to the front. But I'm curious to see. Should set a pretty decent trip, similar to the 3, I believe.
Just real quick on the 5, because I know I didn't mention him. I don't have him anywhere, and it's your top pick, and very logical in this spot. I just felt like Cassie was winning everything this summer, and this horse didn't do that great at Saratoga while the barn was really hot, and now the barn has cooled off a little bit, and this horse has to find more in figures. He's got to find a way to pass some rivals because he's not making the front in this spot. And again, he just didn't do much running in that Saratoga Special, which I didn't feel like was a very strong race this year. It's just one I'm going to try to beat in this spot. If he beats me, so be it. But I don't need him anymore.
Yeah, very respectable. Yeah, I mean, I get that totally. I just like that last effort going the 2 turns at Monmouth. That was enough for me to kind of get back on the bandwagon. But yeah, losing with Dylan Davis in the saddle, Mark Cassey training at Saratoga. I mean, that doesn't invite confidence because those two seemingly could not lose this summer up there. Want to get to our third pick here, and then we'll move on to race number 5. But we both picked the one that's Righteous Star in third. Kenny McPeak, CJ Hernandez, who I got to say, he pops with some prices on these Kenny McPeak runners. I know he's kind of second choice for this barn, but I think we talk about the other Chad, we talk about the other Baffert, the other Kenny's pretty dangerous. The one that comes to mind was Churchill Downs. I forget when. I want to say it was over the spring, was Elephant's Ear at like 40 something to 1. Was the other McPeak in that race. And sure enough, Colby Hernandez was on board.
Blew it up.
Yep, blew it up, knocked me out of everything. But yeah, we'll stick with this one. Righteous Star, what did you like here?
It's just another one that McPeak, he's got 2 in there, believe it. He has the 1 in the 6. And I already talked about Brian Hernandez shows up on the 6, which I feel like is a good sign for the 6 horse. But this one, he definitely stepped up and start number 3. And these McPeak runners typically do that. They get better with racing. And, another one that be coming from off the pace. As I mentioned, I think the 3 is the speed of the speed. And for him to lose, it's going to be from someone from off the pace. And this guy could be it. He did it last time, chasing a fast pace, 1 going away. That was against Lester. I know that was against Claimers, but step up in class. I would much prefer the 6 to the 1 especially at the difference in the odds they have.
Yeah, definitely. Difference in odds is something that I'm gonna definitely agree with you on. Something else that's notable. I know it's turf to dirt, but this horse was the favorite in that maiden breaker at Kentucky Downs. I want to take a look at that race real quick. Obviously, we're that's a lot of horses to count, but we're 11 horses deep in this field, and this horse went off on as the favorite. You had a horse like Optical in here who came to win next time out by 14 lengths at Churchill Downs, and then obviously,
big jump up, and the figures too.
Big jump up 75 up to 45 to 76, excuse me. Second place finisher jumped up to 72. We see a lot of buyer improvements. Every horse except for really Concrete Cruiser, and that was only a -2 next out. But all of them have come back to improve their buyer speed figures. So that's got to prove, pretty promising for this horse. Anagata came third next out on turf to States Rights, who I want to say is Cherie DeVoe. But Look to the Cross. If Look to the Cross can run a 76 in here, that's geared down at the correct finish line, geared down. So, sorry, that's
the second one for sure. He's geared. He's going to win.
Yeah, for sure. He'll be geared down by the second finish line, but he'd be geared down coming off of the turn if he's running a 76 in here. I don't think it's going to take anywhere close to that to romp in this field. That being said, though, Look to the Cross, really valuable price play for you in here. As we go to race number 5, maiden claiming $100,000, so high level maiden claiming action. This was one of the hardest ones in the sequence for me, and as evidenced by our picks, I picked the race 5, 10, 7. You picked the race 4, 8, 9. So neither of us liked the 6, but other than that, we got everything going from post 4 out to the outside. So we'll start with you. We're going 6 furlongs, as I mentioned, and did I pass? Oh, yeah. You're 4. I'm all over the place. 4, Halfway Tempted for Dale Romans.
That's my mistake. It was 8, 4, 9.
Okay.
8, 4, 9.
Then we'll start with number 8. That's Panther, trained by Mike Maker, who's 1 for 20 at the meet. But what took you to this horse on top?
You said it. This race it was tough, and we're 6 different horses we picked because I'm just going through these races, all the horses that I've ran, and I don't love anything. I mean, the 10 horse is your favorite. He's 0 for 11. He's been in the money 9 times. He's been second by less than a length, like 5 or 6 of those times. He's coming out of Parks race. This just isn't one of a horse I would usually try to lean on. The 9 is another one, kind of a career maiden. The 1 and 5 are horses that have races that are fast enough, but they also have a number of races that are just like not good at all. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to expect from these horses. So I try to take a shot here with the first time starters. These late season 3-year-olds, I feel like they're probably fully cranked up because they're showing up at Keeneland in a spot, I don't think these connections want to waste any more time. They've already missed so much time. They're probably trying to win in this spot. So I landed on the 8 horse. I like that he's in for double the purchase price. They only bought him for 50. He's in for 100 today. And the work time was good enough for me. I mean, again, another turfway worker. He's got some fast ones in there, including a bullet from the gate. And I really like when the last work of the work tab is a nice, easy one. 37 out of the gate. It's probably not one where they're really pushing him or anything. They think he's fully fit. They think he's ready to go. And I like that Saya shows up. So I'm going to take a chance with the 8. I'm going to try to get these firsters home because I don't trust any of the favorites in this spot.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to push back too hard. Obviously, I went with number 5. That's shortstop in first. It's Ben Colebrook, Tyler G on board. I want to say Tyler's the leading rider out at Keeneland. I may be mistaken, but that last effort's just a little tough, obviously, as this horse didn't do much running at all. This horse only has layoff lines. So something that I like to see here is that this horse is managing to string 2 races together. This horse ran well in the fall last year, Churchill Downs. That 82 buyer, I think, is enough to win here. Obviously, pretty slow pace to set up. 4-year-old now, end of 4-year-old season. So it's pretty much this or nothing for this horse, I would imagine, as we're kind of getting kind of late into the season. I'm really hoping for that three-back effort. I think that's going to win here. T-Gaff, obviously, I feel pretty good. I just think this horse might be capable here on his best day. Second off the layoff is something that I like to see, just again, because this horse has not been able to string multiple races together. Has taken some decent amount of money in the last 3, 3-1 in that 82 buyer effort against You Ain't Poppin', I believe. And then, lost to Wendelson, lost to Senior Officer. So no major names in any of those running lines at all. But I like that Ben Colebrook, even second off the layoff, doesn't protect him, but puts him in a spot where he's probably not going to get claimed and he's not facing those monsters. I can't imagine someone's going to claim this horse for $100,000. That would be a bit aggressive. I think even for horse racing. So I think this horse is, quote unquote protected in here. But he's not facing any, Brad Cox firsters or, I don't know, Wesley Ward for firsters or anything crazy. So yeah, I think shortstop, second off the bench. I think today's the day, or Saturday's the day, rather. We'll get to the 4. Oh,
I know Noah's gonna have some money on that horse. He and his dad love Ben Colebrook. We were talking about him all weekend. Ben Colebrook.
Nice. Well, hey, fingers crossed for that. Real quick before we get to your 4, I do just want to touch on the 10. I picked this horse in second. I know that's kind of a suck-up pick because this horse has finished 9 times in second or third out of 11 tries. This horse just clearly does not give a crap about going to the winner's circle.
That's Miramati's little brother right there. Look at him. He just gets beaten as a favorite.
Basically looks like Miramati's little brother. The only thing I'm going to kind of, look to endorse here is second off the layoff, second with blinkers off. I like the 2 works leading into here, 2 3 furlong drills in 36 and 2, and then a bullet 36 flat. I like those coming in here. I think that shows some intention. I think if Jose is, uber aggressive and gets this horse out to an open length lead, even if that's just a length, I think this horse has a shot. The only other thing that led me to kind of pick this horse in second was other than, coming from Parks, I get it. But at 6 horse field, I get it. Slow fractions, I get it. But the 78 buyer is respectable. That's one of this horse's best. Horse's second best on dirt, tied for second best overall. Obviously, I don't know what happened with that 91 5 races back at Gulfstream, but that's an anomaly. 78 off the bench, though. I like that. If he can build on that, I think we're in with some decent shot in here. Again, I can't imagine someone's going to claim this horse for $100K with the record that he's shown. Even though, there's nothing wrong with a horse that can finish second a bunch. You can clearly rack up a lot of wins or a lot of money doing that. Sorry, not a lot of wins. Not a lot of wins come in second, but a lot of money doing that. So we'll see. It's a horse I didn't want to leave off my ticket because I'm going to feel dumb if I have all this. I don't want to say confidence, but have these kind of upside angles that I'm looking at right now, even though this horse hasn't finished first in 11 tries. I think 12 times the charm. So that's kind of what led me to pick the 10 in second here, but obviously not not a horse I'd feel confident in singling or doing anything like that.
Right.
Want you to talk about your 4. That's Halfway Tempted for Dale Romans, who you picked second.
Yeah, this is a similar case to the 8. I just felt a little less confident about it. I trust Romans a little less first time out, but it's the same angle. I mean, he's got that long work tab. Got this 3-year-old who's coming in, debuting his 3-year-old in October. He's at Keeneland. Like I just feel like these horses, they got to be ready to go. And if they're ever going to win first out, it's against a field like this. That I don't trust anyone. Yeah, that was it. He's got some decent works in there. Just I like the consistent tab. This is
Nice.
I don't usually play picks. Okay, I hardly ever play pick sixes. But if this the rest of the sequence later on, I know we're not covering it. Looks pretty approachable to me. So if they open up this race and the 4 or the 8 are just getting crushed, that's one of those scenarios where I'm going to get involved and probably single one of them if they're taking a lot of money.
Nice, I like it. This is definitely going to be an interesting betting race. Could be a big separator in that pick 6 on Saturday because I think obviously you have horses like Bookham Dano in this sequence who are going to be tough to beat. I heard earlier on the HHH Picks and Ponies show, I believe from Paul Halloran, that Locked is going to scratch out of the stakes race here, which I should probably know the name of it. Is it the Raven Run?
It's the Perryville and the Raven Run.
And Bookham's in the Perryville, I believe. So but Locked is going to scratch out of that spot and make his 3-year-old debut up in New York. So again, heard that on the HHH show. So shout out to y'all for that. I'll let you talk about your 3rd place. That's Skylar, coming out of a maiden 30 race in the slop. What took you to this horse in 3rd? 30-1 on the morning line.
Do I have the right horse?
I think so. Oh, that's me. That's me that picked the 7 in 3rd. You picked the 9 in 3rd.
Yeah,
that's a host fail. That's a host fail. I picked that 30-1 in 3rd.
Yeah, you did.
So I'll let you talk about Uncle William real quick, and then I'll get to my horse.
Just a speed play. He's got a chance to be the speed of the speed. I like the outside draw. I know I talked about he's 0 for 6 and hasn't done that much running. But that race 3 back kind of leaped off the page. Last time maybe he was just too close to a fast pace, and he can get a more comfortable spot this time, further to the outside. Don't love him in here. It's just a horse I need someone to be 3rd, and why not him?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm very curious to hear about your 7 here because I did take a long look at that 7 horse. So
yeah, forward in this race definitely going to be beneficial. So I can agree with you on that one. Speed figures kind of fit here. Again, being forward against the field like this is going to be beneficial because a lot of these horses just kind of run in place. So sometimes if you can run in place in first, you kind of end up there. All right. Last horse we'll talk about before we get into our pick 5s. That's number 7, Skylar at 30-1. Trained by Rodina Barrett, looks like. Not familiar with the name. 9% on the year, 3 for 32. I'm doing this, coming out of a maiden 30. That's a tough jump up to maiden 100. However, it is a jump up, so maybe that shows some confidence. Got to run under his belt last time out. Was in the slop. We mentioned earlier in the show, I can toss a horse's race in the slop, so I'm really just hoping that built some stamina in here. If this is one of the few horses, you have your first-time starters where we really don't know what they're capable of. This horse has a little bit of foundation, which is kind of why I liked him over the 2 first-time starters, just because there's not a whole lot to go off of with really any horses in here. But I thought maybe Skylar would be able to take a step forward off that debut effort. 56 buyers, obviously a little light, but not terrible. Again, coming out of the slop, hitting a fast track this weekend, gets a nice little 1:03 workout leading into this. That was before actually the last race. My note was off on that one. So hasn't worked since the debut on the 28th, which you can look at that as a downside for sure. But set some was close to a hot pace in that debut. Again, I'm just hoping we get a step up. We haven't seen the ceiling for this horse yet. I mean, there's a chance that we have, but 30-1, maybe this horse, has a little bit of ability because it's not going to take a whole lot.
Right. And, I talked about my horses being a late season 3-year-old. This is late season 4-year-old. They could have easily ran this guy for 30 and no one was going to claim him. And he was 53-1. No one's going to claim this horse. So I would take that as a huge sign of confidence from these connections that they're showing up in this spot. They want more money out of it. out of the purse. I would assume, or they just don't want to risk losing him. I don't know.
Yeah. There's always some upsides to any angle. There's always an angle you can find that you'd like. So, I mean, 30-1, that's something where I'll include this horse on a ticket in the hopes that, this horse blows it up completely. This is a very, very tough races. We picked 6 different horses in a 10 horse field. So yeah, we picked 60% of the runners here. That is, that's saying something when there's only 2 of us and we only have 3 picks. That being said, we'll get into the pick 5. Our pick 5 tickets here, $50 budget as per usual. Jackson, you went 6-9. I'll let you take it. You want to talk about your pick 5 here?
Yeah, sure. 6-9 in that first race. I think the favorite's one you definitely need to use in everything because she's by far the most likely winner. But that 9 horse will not surprise me at all. So I'm going to use those 2. Definitely going to use them in doubles and probably straight exactas as well because I really like those 2 horses. It's probably the first 2 races are definitely my strongest opinions, as you can see by how skinny I got in those 2. Going to single the 9 horse in that second leg, as are we both. So if that 9 horse loses, we're in trouble. So let's get that 9 horse home, I ride, because I think he's got a good chance in there. And then that third race, just trying to beat that Wesley Ward horse. I might throw Howard's 4 in there at 30-1 because why not? He's 30-1. I only used $36. I got a little extra room to throw a horse in that race. And let's see, that fourth race, I am 1, 3, 6, 7. Yeah. Oh, I guess I did use the favorite in that race. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. The top 3 picks for the 1, 3, and 6. So I'm gonna guess I have the 7 there too. I'm just trying to get past that leg. And then again, I'm going to be 4, 8, 9. Those were my top 3 in the last race. Just trying to find any kind of angle in that race to get this pick 5 home.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that analysis there. $36 ticket coming from Jackson. I'm pretty in lockstep with you in terms of that single. There are worse things than trying to root Irad home in a dirt sprint on an outside draw on a horse with some good speed. So I feel fairly confident in that. I'm going 3, 4, 6 in the first. Maybe I toss your 9 in on a ticket that doesn't have a budget to it because I did like your points there. I also thought 3 and the 4 were in with a shot. In the third leg, I went a little skinny with the 2, 5 horses that we talked about in there. Again, just think maybe at least to me, that's as far as you need to go. The 6 worries me a little bit. I like the points that you made again. I think that's is that the 2-turn race that I'm thinking of?
Is it the 4th?
No, that's the turf. Sorry, that's the turf.
Yeah, that's the first time starter.
Howard, real quick with a note. Race 5 is impossible. Have to spread there. Disagree with Jackson respectfully. Like the 2-turn experience, number 5 global legend. Well, yeah. Shout out to you, Howard. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, hey, anything can happen in that race. There's a ton of a lot of baby races. I think there's 2 in this sequence, 3 in this sequence, but either way, a lot of horses with just some weird experience. Matt Miller said he's going to start practicing cameraman and tech wingman skills. So I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know if that's in reference to me clicking all over the place today, but
Matt's got a big day Tuesday. He's going to come prepared. He's going to take over the show.
Yes, he is. So anyway, back to business here. Third leg, yeah, I mentioned I'm going 2, 5, 6. That's the 5.5 furlong turf sprint. I like the 2. That's the inside speed. We're just trying to beat Caribbean Wind in that spot. I like the 5. Forgot Irish bred though for Brendan Walsh and Tyler Gaffleone coming from out of it, but should be able to close relatively well. And then fourth leg, just trying to get through 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7. That's basically every horse in that field. I just don't like the 6, don't like the 2. And then last leg, I'm going 5, 7, 10. If I were to revise this ticket, I might include your 3. But I think I'm fairly confident with the 5, 7, and 10 here. The Mark Casse horse in the fourth leg that we were talking about with the global campaign colt going 2 turns again. Maybe I feel confident in singling that horse on a B ticket and then, spreading deep in that 5th leg because that is very competitive. But for this ticket's sake, I think the 5, 7, and 10 can get the job done. I'm curious to see how this 10 runs. I'm definitely going to use some reverse trifecta keys and whatnot, probably superfecta as well, because this horse does like to, give a bit of running and then just doesn't like to finish him off. So this is a horse you could make some money on.
Yeah, interesting sequence. I don't know I'm probably not going to get too involved with this pick 5, more each individual race. But definitely some interesting races in here for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm probably just going to play, a couple light tickets for the early pick 5. I'll probably trim them down, just press some opinions up a little bit, see where the day takes us. But when I hit the double pick 6 carryover at Backwood tomorrow, then I'll have plenty of money to spend at Keeneland for the early pick 5 and whatever sequences I want to play. We got some good carryovers going into tomorrow. We got the double pick 6 carryover at Backwood. We have a pick 6 carryover at Santa Anita, our home track. I'm actually heading up there tomorrow morning to have another weekend up at the Great Race Place. So excited for that. And then I think I have one more weekend up there next week. And then it's Breeders' Cup season. So
when is opening day? Is it that Wednesday or is it
Halloween?
So it's Thursday.
Thursday the 31st.
That's not a lot of info to go off of. Interesting.
No, it is not. Okay. There is one day. I don't know what races are going to be carded, obviously, but it's one day of stuff to go off of. I might try and go, that whole week. Right. Oh, I guess that's breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. So yeah, I will be there for a few of those mornings. So
yeah, if you've never been to the Breeders' Cup workouts, it's the coolest thing. I went one time. It was probably one of my top 3 favorite moments ever at the track because they all have their saddle claws on with their names. You know exactly who everyone is. It's awesome. It's really fun.
Yeah, I want to see the Aiden O'Brien march and
that's also
the convoy come out. That's going to be fun. But yeah, looking forward to those Breeders' Cup shows. Real quick, I'll put them on the ticker again. This is the link for Breeders' Cup Power Picks presented by HHH. I'll be writing my my one race write up on this one, but we got 30 total pages of in-depth look. So please make sure to check that out. Link in the description. First show 1021. That's this coming Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go about an hour for each of these shows, maybe a little bit longer. Depends on what we're doing. We got Jason Avila. We got Benny South Street. And we got Shane O'Neill. Next up on Tuesday, we got Matt Miller, Better Way of Thinking author. And obviously we'll have the link to that book in the description of that show because any handicapper, any horse player, any bettor, any gambler, whatever your fancy, you got to read that book. It's an excellent read with a lot of cool insight and a lot of good advice of how to shape your game. And then new NYRA content producer Kaylee Shapiro is going to be joining us. So excited to talk Breeders' Cup with her. And then moving on to the next week on Monday, it's going to be live draw reactions on the show. And then we're getting guests, Tony Kalo, Travis Stone, both race callers in Kentucky. And then another NYRA guy, Matthew DeSantis, who I had on in one of my, I believe the second episode of the Gallop Out. We sat down and handicapped some cards leading up to Travers Day. Excited to have him back on. We're going to talk some Breeders' Cup. And then for the big show on 1029, we got Matt Dinnerman. We got Matt Bernier. We're going to be talking those 5 big races. That's going to be the obviously the Breeders' Cup Classic. We're going to be talking the Breeders' Cup Turf. We're going to be talking the Filly and Mare Turf. We're going to be talking the Distaff, and we're going to be talking the Dirt Mile. So I'm excited to talk about all those races. I'm excited to get into Breeders' Cup season. It's going to be fast and furious. I'll throw our Pick 5 tickets up for this Saturday one more time as we kind of wrap the show up here. But Jackson, you got any parting words as we kind of get through one more weekend and we get even closer to Breeders' Cup?
Yeah, if you like Breeders' Cup bankrolls, bet Bickham Dano. Doesn't matter what he goes off at. He's going to win. Build him on up. Take 3 to 5 and move on.
There we go. Pick of the weekend from Jackson Muniz. We will see you on Monday. Everybody have a good weekend. Hope your bets hit. Breeders' Cup season. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you Monday.